Welcome everybody. I am here with Direwolf, and we're going to give you one more cast here. We have a little bit of video of I'm battling with somebody in Living Legends, and Direwolf, we're going to start out with how can people participate in this tournament? We need them to have TeamSpeak, teamspeak.com/downloads. They go to TeamSpeak server W-R, join the ready room that we'll have for them, and we'll put them in a team. A microphone is encouraged but not required, and we have the teams that'll play in the round robin. You just show up. You need the game, Living Legend, mechlivinglegends.net, and we'll give out the server password over TeamSpeak, and you can either play as an individual or you can play in a team. Direwolf, you'll be playing in a team.
Yes, it will be.
So that'll be fun. Now, Dire, and how to follow the event. Some players are not going to be. Some players will be watchers. Dire will have a live stream up here on the MechMaster channel on YouTube. We'll have recorded videos after that. We'll have a Twitch link at some point when we have that going. And then what is this challenge thing?
Right, so also I do want to plug that can't say for certain, but I think we'll have a couple of commentators who will make sure that our Twitch stream is very lively. And yeah, challenge is a piece of it's a website for brackets for fighting games and such like that we'll be using here for Living Legends. And the idea is that you can see which teams you have to fight in what order and on what server you have to be playing on. Ooh, nice.
And red just exploded, and now I'm going to explode. Ouch. Good fight.
Good lord.
And so Dire will continue on with challenge.
Good lord. But yeah, challenge is basically just going to be a resource for everybody who's competing, or also if you're spectating, so you can see exactly how well you're doing in the tournament, because we will be using a round robin format. Will be based primarily on how many match wins you have. Every set between different teams will be a best of 3, where you play 3 maps. And you can see the idea from challenge is that way, if you're a team and you're a captain like me, you get to know who you're fighting in what order and where you're fighting, because challenge can also tell you what server you're going to be on. We'll have probably somewhere between 3 to 4 servers for teams to be fighting on the day of. So keeping things moving, there'll be basically minimal overhead. You can just research. You can just view the challenge page, and you'll know exactly where to be. There should also be things like the map rotation and civil restrictions up there.
And we're going to have the information plastered everywhere we can. And moving on now, the event, as you saw in the poster, on the 14th, 1830, and moving on to map categories now. Dire, we've got our map rotation finalized. We're going to reveal that a little bit later down the road, but before the event, the other cast had most of the correct information. But Dire, you've broken this up a little bit for us, into some of the maps being cold, hot, low gravity, yep. Short range, medium range, long range, and when we put the map categories together.
Yeah, so we kind of hashed out what all the legal maps are going to be. Just to confirm, on the day of, what we're going to have is there's a legal map list, which everybody knows about already. And just before the event, there will be a smaller subset of these maps that will actually be played on, and then you can choose during the banning process, which we can go into a little bit later, but not in too much detail. But yeah, each rotation, the actual rotation that you have, you may not know exactly what it is this far ahead of the event, but there are certain types of categories which are short range, long range, mid/variable range, and kind of wildcard maps, like unusual maps. Ones that aren't really so much based on kind of specific engagement ranges, but more for other strange attributes. Like, for example, one of the maps on this list is Extremity, which has low gravity and also has wildly variable temperature. So just the idea basically being that any given rotation that will happen, we'll probably have some short range maps, some long range maps, some mid range maps, ones where people can line of sight each other and where you can take a long range list, but you have to play a specific way, and then probably at least 1 or 2 wild cards. So something that's just really unusual. That basically both maybe some teams might be specialized in, but otherwise they don't really have to worry about them.
And when we do reveal the rotation, there might have been one or two few small changes, but I just want to quickly go through. We've had suggestions for Overlord Knight, Scorch, Jungle, and Jungle Impact, Golden Rocks. Any one or two of those maps that you think would be good for the rotation?
Yeah, I think that for the most part, we've decided on taking Overlord Knight as, which is another one was suggested. Like a really unusual map that kind of adds something that none of the other ones do. Just in terms of like the engagement ranges, it's mid-range, it's like a city map, so there's tons of variable sightlines, tons of buildings. It's like a real like urban fight, but it's not really one of the maps are a lot of like the urban maps in Living Legends are really massive, and it's easy to get lost in them, and they're not really suitable for 3v3s because you can just be somewhere completely line of sighted from the other team, and you'll never find them in 15 minutes. But here, it's like there are some areas where you can see really long range around the map, and there are some like really long sightlines, so you aren't necessarily always restricted to taking, I have to take 3 Act 20 assets kind of deal. So I think that adds a really unique niche. I was thinking about also doing Scorched, or advocating for Scorched very heavily because of the fact that it's one of the few maps that we have on our current legal list that's really hot, but also it's a little bit large, and it can be a little bit awkward to play if the teams don't really take advantage of the long sightlines.
And as we're recording the podcast, the battle report test, we've updated the drop calcs, so the drop
disconnected from your channel.
Drop calcs are all up to date, and we good fight. Drop calcs are all up to date with C-bills, and the battle reports are going to work real well. They're going to be using challenge primarily, but the drop calcs are going to be a good backup for us. Teams will have those, but they won't have to be filled out in real time. So that'll be good. So we updated some of our infrastructure, and that's going to help us with future events as well. Now we're going to play drop commanders. What is this stuff that I've posted in the chat, and what is the system called again?
So what has been posted in chat is basically what we were doing a little bit earlier tonight, where Duelist and I were essentially drop commanding. Well, I was drop commanding, and I think Duelist was drop commanding on mostly Heartless, either Duelist or Architect, if I remember correctly. But the idea was that before matches start, like before the actual games begin, everybody builds their assets. They have to know where they're fighting and what they're fighting in. So they have a list of maps and they have a list of restrictions. And the idea is instead of playing just like a fixed rotation, you get to ban some, you get to strike some. So we can play Drop Commander and basically do what we were doing a little bit earlier tonight. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to pretend that it's Saturday. You're Team Captain 1, I'm Team Captain 2. So we have before us. All right. Well, we're gonna start with maps. I ban TSA Carbon map 6. So we're not gonna play Carbon.
Yeah. Basically, because Duelist gets the first ban, he will also be the one who chooses the map. And that means that, well, like even though I can't choose a map, I still have at least an option of choosing some maps I don't want to play on. So Duelist doesn't want to play on Carbon because he knows that I really love making my team take Thors and jump jet assets. And it's a cold map, so it's like, all right, I still want to play long range. So I'm going to ban TSA Glory and TSA Solaris A, because both of those are like the closest range maps available.
And I'm going to ban TSA Allshane.
Yep.
All right.
Thing is, since the idea is that Duelists, since you got the first ban, you also get to choose the map. And since there's only 6, you can also ban one more in this phase and force me to choose. You can ban Allshane and one other one, and choose whichever map you want.
All right, I ban. All right, let's see if I make a mistake. I ban Allshane and Badlands.
Right. That means that we are playing on New Babylon.
All right.
That's the only map left over.
Now you have the first choice on C-bills.
Yeah. So this time, because Duelists essentially got to choose the map, I get to choose C-bills, and I also get first ban on C-bills. That's just kind of the rule of thumb. Whoever gets first ban also gets to choose. So again, if my plan is, okay, I want to take Thors, I want to take something jumpy, I want to keep higher C-bill stuff around. So I'll choose my first ban on the lowest bracket, set number 1. So I ban set 1. Duelist, you now have 2 bans.
I ban set 2 and 3.
So Duelist, maybe he knows that, like, okay, I want Thors and stuff, so he bans all the stuff that would be amenable to me taking jump jet assets, like Mark 2s or whatever. So I'm a little bit frustrated, but it's like, damn, well, you know what, I can't take my clan jump snipey stuff, but I still feel really comfortable, like, kind of in mid-tier assets. I like taking Shadowcats, things like this. That's like in the 70Ks, right? So I decide to ban sets 5 and 6, leaving set 4 left. So our first match will begin on New Avalon with set 4 left over, which is 72k, 80k, and 47k.
All right, and that is how that works. It'll work a little slower, a little quicker, depending on the commander. But it's an interesting way to have the metagame and proceed through it and not play the exact same limits and the exact same maps throughout the tournament.
Yep.
And now we're going to... we've already talked about challenge. The interesting thing with challenge, for us, it'll be easy for you to follow. It'll be easy to organize the event, and it'll be easy for everybody to update it. And this, along with touch of the drop calcs and just good old using chat, we have a lot of ways to communicate and keep moving. At the end of the day, challenge will basically let us know which servers to send the players, the teams, and it'll let us have a really advanced system for keeping score. So that'll be really good for us. And we're going to now talk about the rule set really quick. We have pretty good rules already in place. But there are a few very specific things that we're going to have for this, and Dyer, correct me if I make any mistakes here, because I'm doing this off the top of my head, but basically there's a 15-minute time limit. You can only use ground assets.
Yep, that's all right.
Your ties, playing for the tie early in the match on carrying assets will be discouraged. If you want to use battle armor, you get 1 APC, and this is the only thing that you can respawn with. So whoever uses the APC gets 3 lives. However, they are a really technical term. They're not a carrying asset if time expires. So there's a downside to taking that, and in general, it's going to be discouraged to reuse the same variant during a specific time. So if you use you're not supposed to use 3 Mad Cat A's in your first fight. And then
yeah, for the most part though, like Siebel restrictions probably won't be geared towards having repeating assets.
Yep.
So for the most part, it's like, I think it's just kind of like, well, I mean, you're uncreative if you do it, but most of the time it won't really be something you even can.
And I think that's it for specific rule things. So basically, we have a couple of specific rules, Dyer, but the standard accepted league rules will prevail should we run into any strange situations. We'll have the team captains and where we can, the refs if people have questions. But these are meant to be fast-moving matches, and for the most part, I don't think we're going to run into too many issues with rules. But I just wanted to make sure that we covered those for a minute.
Yeah. For the most part, it's pretty intuitive. It's just find the enemy, shoot them.
And as much fun as it would be to have use a mech and 2 VTOLs against a team with 2 battle armors and a long tom, we want to have some. We want to see mechs and tanks in this tournament, and it would just be too much of a headache with the short time to do that. So that's where we came up with that. And so anyway, Dyer, I think that. We've got a good system upcoming as Red defeats me yet again.
Locust Day is really rough in 1v1s. Beat anyway. Twisted well though.
And so anyway, Dyer, you and I have been hard at work at this. We started talking about this a few months ago on and off. We've been in constant contact with all the experts around the community, and we've done a really good job of making sure that I'm not wearing too many hats during the event and can concentrate on the things I'm good at. So Dyer, as we get ready for the tournament, is there anything specific that you're part of the event that you're particularly excited about, or something that might get overlooked by people as they review the info before we begin in a week?
Well, I will say that I'm really, really excited to play 3v3s again. It was really fun drop commanding 3v3s earlier tonight, and I'm super excited to also do that in tournament. It's been way too long. I'm glad for it to be back. And the other is I'm really excited about the band format, just because I think that this could be a really, like I said, if it if it's something that people can get used to, if it's something that's really tractable, which I'm confident it will be. But I really like if this can become like a standard for competitive play. I think it would really make for a super dynamic format, and I think it would be like able to stay around for a long time. I'm super excited for that. Want to see how it goes.
I think that's about it for now, Dyer. We'll be back. We'll be back on Friday with a short thing. We're going to. The last thing I want to cover is how teams are going to get selected and how they're going to play. We are going to basically use as much automation as we can. As much automation as we can to keep things simple, but basically what should people expect when they show up is our last segment. So Dyer, if I'm an individual player, I come in a little bit early around the start time on Friday. On Friday, if I want to sit around for 24 hours before the start, I come in at 18:30 on Saturday as an individual player. I pop on the TeamSpeak. I indicate.
So a little bit before the event start, we're going to have like there's going to be a couple teams like if there's enough players around floating around, we'll have like some mercenary teams basically. Just whoever doesn't really have a team already will be put onto one. Like this will be finalized about like maybe a couple of hours before the bracket starts. When that does, once all the entrants are finalized, you go into challenge and you will see which teams fight what. So if you're like an individual player and you haven't been practicing, or rather you don't have like other teammates solid, you'll probably just see you're like on Mercenary Team A or whatever, and Mercenary Team A will be fighting every other team once. That's the way Round Robin works, is every team ideally fights everyone once. And as to knowing exactly when you'll fight, Challenge itself can tell you which server, like there'll be a system that's called stations, basically, and it will tell you, here, 3v3 server number 1 is hosting a fight between Mercenary Team A and Mercenary Team B. When that happens, you just join that server, and on TeamSpeak there should be rooms available. For example, 3v3 server number 1 or 3v3 team 1 will have like a room available. You'll join it. You'll see, okay, this is server 1, team 1. You're there, and your teammates will fight whoever you're currently faced up against. Challenge is just a way to really easily see exactly where you need to be at a given time.
And along the way, while there'll be some metagame options for the commanders to choose, we'll be keeping downtimes as reasonable as we can, and the goal is to get through one full round robin, and anything past that is just golden. There's our primary focus is on the teams that are on that round robin bracket, but we will not turn away other teams that come to play. It's just that you're going to be playing on the fun server. You'll still be doing the same format. You'll still be having matches, probably individually instead of best 2 out of 3. But you'll be able to play. So it'll be fun. We've got a good idea what we're doing. We've left it to the experts, and there's some awesome experts out there. And special thanks to everybody that's going to make it possible for us. We've got a cool promotional poster that Bird Thing made for us. We'll show that off here at the end. And Dyer, when done right, these 3v3 is going to be one of the highlights of the entire year of events. And
absolutely,
we've worked hard, and people have told us we're looking forward to it, and we're going to do our damnedest to deliver this upcoming. Dyer, you've been a big help during this, and want to thank you for your advice and being there to help us. We're still we've got our volunteers lined up. If people want to watch, you can. If you want to come help with the infrastructure, you can. And if you want to just be a part of this awesome game. The game is mechlivinglegends.net, teamspeak.com to get the voice software, and the server is W-R on Saturday the 14th starting at 18:30 UTC, and we'll have lots of information in the show notes for you. Dyer, we've got about 30 seconds left. Anything you want to add?
Especially, just hope to see you guys in the battlefield.
Yep. All right, this has been Duelist and Direwolf, and we are about to put on hopefully an outstanding and awesome 3v3 as Red is about to destroy my mech. I'm going to cut it off so that he doesn't get the win. All right, thank you everybody, and we look forward to seeing you coming up. And next communication will be on Friday when we reveal which teams are playing who in the round robin and the CBIL limitations. Thank you all, and good night.
Good night.
All right, I'm gonna cut it off just as Red gets the kill. So hurry up, Red. Ah. All right, there we go. Good night, everybody.